Hey Reddit. What's something horrible you've witnessed as a child but did not completely understand? Only to discover later in life how horrible it really was.
Post in the comments to win. Absolutely nothing.
Walking 20 minutes to school only to pass the liquor store parking lot where you see your dad passed out in the parking lot.
I saw a video on WorldStar a few years ago involving an 8-year-oldish kid slapping his mother with vigor. The mother was laid outside high as a kite on IV heroin. The boy, clearly not new to this, was so sad and frustrated, was crying while slapping his mother, yelling for her to wake up. The neighborhood adults were gently trying to calm the boy and tell him not to hit her, but you could tell from the body language everyone understood he was in a lot of pain and why. It honestly felt like he was trying to beg her to be his mum and take care of him.
I know that feeling, bro. I remember walking with my friends into town and one of them says, "Isn't that your dad?" pointing to a park bench. He was asleep and drunk. I felt humiliated and sad.
Helped and watched my best friend's dad pack out the house. I was maybe 6 or 7 at the time and had no idea he was ditching wife, kids, job, or any other adult responsibility. He made the task into a game for me and his son. We were taking things to go camping. After we packed up, he told us boys to head back to town, where there was a local parade going on, and not tell the wife mom because it was a surprise. As young as I was, I had no idea of the magnitude of what he was doing. Apparently he cleaned out their bank accounts, money, and valuables. We were just excited to go camping. An hour later, my buddy's life was in ruins and they had to leave the house they were renting and move away. To this day, I have no idea what happened to my childhood friend, his mom, or the dad. It was a pretty despicable thing that guy did.
Was the parade real? At least.
Frick that guy. You should try and reconnect with your old friend. Do you remember his name?
My dad and I were going camping when I was 5 or 6 years old. We headed out early 5 a.m. or so and saw something in the ditch a couple houses down from us. We pulled over thinking it was an animal. It was a woman. This woman was missing her entire bottom half of her body. Legs several meters away, she was dead and laying face down in a pool of her own blood. Dad quickly hurried me back into the truck trying to block my vision. We turned around, sped back home, called the cops and waited until we saw their lights over the hill before we headed back out. The entire camping trip, Dad was shaken in a way I had never seen him before. He barely said anything all night. I didn't think anything of it. Really. When we got home, my mom told me that the lady had been hit by a drunk driver on her morning walk. She had been hit so hard that her body was severed in the middle. Unfortunately, she was a friend of my parents from way back and they talked at least once a week or so. Now that I'm older with my own kids, it gives me chills thinking about what was going through my dad's mind. All he wanted to do was to get me away from that horror.
Holy shiz.
You have a good dad.
Something was always off about step-uncle Caesar. I saw him grope my older cousins as they ran away at family gatherings. He died after falling down the stairs. Drunk. We found out after his death that he was facing criminal charges for injuries caused by his DUI accident back then. They didn't jail people for that. I thought that was bad. But here it is some 20+ years later and my aunt died. I learned at her funeral that Uncle Caesar was molesting his stepson, my cousin. During those childhood years. Trouble is, we all complained about Uncle Caesar. No clue why nothing was done about him. Literally no one went to his funeral.
And another 10 years you will find out that something was, in fact, done to prevent it from happening again. Drunk dude falling down the stairs is a very easy story for a family to cover up. There's a good chance someone else was at the top of those stairs before he fell. All this controversy is fucking delicious.
At summer camp when I was 8 years old, I remember seeing a camp counselor in his mid-30s stripped down to the nude in the main bunk room surrounded by kids to change into his pajamas. What's even more messed up is he had a huge erection while doing it. I only realized how messed up it was years later.
When I went to summer camp at age 9, There was a counselor that was very inappropriate with me. Constantly tried to get me to hug him. Go on a hike with him. ECT. One time he straight up pulled his pants down in front of me. I felt so awkward and called my mum to come get me. That I was sick. I never told anyone about it.
What in the fuckity frick?
I saw a man put something in a woman's drink at a restaurant. She had gone to the bathroom and he put some powder in her drink. Back then, I didn't know what roofies were. So I thought maybe it was just medicine or something. It sickens me when I think about it now.
This could have been a convenient time for good old kid innocence to come into play. Your boyfriend is no nice. He added your medicine to your drink without you even asking, so you won't taste it. My mum never lets me do that. I always have to take my medicine with water.
Removed.
Same here. I was only about 3 or so. I was invited by my dad's therapist to one of his sessions to see if I could help. Recently, when the abuse was brought up, he said, "You were too young. You can't remember that." Bullshit. I remember. I also remember standing in front of my mom, looking up at my dad and say, "No, Daddy, don't." I honestly don't know if that actually happened or if it was my little fantasy. I sort of wish I did that. My mom left him after a few years of that, taking me and my sister with her. Thank goodness. He would have killed her eventually if she didn't. He tells me that she was cheating on him and that I saw that too. I don't remember that part though.